Ceasefire or no ceasefire? Apparently, it depends on who you ask. A toddler injured by a wolf at a zoo while his parents scrolled on their phones. This is an incredible story, a horrible one, but the toddler is relatively okay. And finally, the most ridiculous headline. I found it. Yep. And we'll tell you what it is coming up. Welcome to the Jay Sheldon Show. Hello, Marilyn. Good morning. Praise the Lord. We are back. We're live on Rumble and YouTube. For some reason, I don't know why, right in the middle of the broadcast yesterday morning, my YouTube live stream suddenly stopped. Just ended. Done. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. So I deleted that one and uploaded the full show to YouTube. You can find us over there at the Jay Sheldon Show. Please subscribe. We need the viewing time over there. So if you can, watch the show on YouTube. Of course, you're always welcome here at Rumble. Follow the show there. That's that button there. And you can help support this show either by making a direct donation through our PayPal link, which you just click on the show notes and hit show more. Let that go down right at the top. You'll see a PayPal link there, and that helps to keep us free and keep us in good straits around here. All right, so we got all that and more. It is a Wednesday. It's Hump Day. Oh boy. The Air Force regularly has been engaged in hunting the big Iraqi Scud launchers. Now they are able to park, set up, toss a cheap old missile downrange, and scoot off pretty quickly. So a certain amount of celebrity is in order. The F-16 seemed like the perfect weapon to do that. Two of the Fighting Falcons got scrambled to go after a launcher. They loaded up the fuel tanks and smart weapons, roared down the runway, turned and went straight up. Combat takeoff, baby. The F-16. The reason I led with this story is if you don't know this aircraft, you need to, because it is amazing. Originally, this was a Cold War design. The F-16s have been upgraded a lot since then. They're in the skies over Iran right now, carrying out an amazing array of weapons, targeting systems, communication systems, jamming pods. They are just chock full of all kinds of stuff that lets us win. We seem to have weapons and electronics for every conceivable purpose. Iran is learning that fact, much to their sorrow. Here's an article from the U.S. Air Force. Talks about just a few of those systems. The U.S. Air Force F-16 currently deployed in Operation Epic Fury carry the AGM-158 Joint Air-to-Surface Standoff Missiles, JASSM. While departing for missions over Iran, the images captured on March 29, 2026, uploaded on the DVIDS network April 4th, two F-16CM Block 52s from the South Carolina National Guard's SCANG 169th Fighter Wing, identified as the South Carolina and the Swamp Foxes, marks emblazoned on their vertical stabilizers. The aircraft flying with two AGM-158s, one on each wing. The payload includes two AIM-9X Sidewinder short-range air-to-air missiles, two AIM-120 advanced medium-range air-to-air missiles, and an Angry Kitten electronic warfare pod. On the center line, that is a lightning targeting pod, and they also have an airspeed anti-radiation missile targeting system. What? These things are loaded for bear. World of hurt coming down in Iranian forces. That is for sure and for certain. And that's why we are winning. Iranian Air Force, at least back when they had one, mostly using Cold War era equipment, most of it junk. Most of their aircraft just hangar queens. By day 2 of Operation Epic Fury, the few surviving Iranian pilots looking at their aircraft, looking at them as nothing more than coffins, really. Now, we are flying a lot of Cold War era stuff ourselves, no doubt about it. But the two big differences: first, our equipment has been continually upgraded with all kinds of new electronics, engines, a new everything. And secondly, our equipment works. We're flying old, slow A-10s with practically impunity in Iranian airspace. Playing the Grunt's favorite air support song, Brrr. We have B-52s overhead, the big, fat, ugly fellows, better than anything else in the air when you got a square mile or so of countryside you need destroyed right now. And we have a B-1B transiting Iranian airspace like greased lightning and leaving nothing but chaos and destruction in their wake. F-16 Falcons, amazing weapons, sensors, countermeasure packages, tailored for just about any mission you could possibly drum up. The Iranians have never won anything. They got to approach the point where they can't even keep surviving with what they have left. That's for damn sure. And certainly not with these swamp foxes overhead on the hunt. These are some very lethal weapons. Manischewitz. All right. The Democrats have called Trump crazy, and then he apparently got a ceasefire with Iran. Now, before we get into that, let's check the chat here. Good morning. Danny says, my caterpillars come tomorrow. If anybody out there wants a fun learning project for kids, you can order a butterfly kit on Amazon. What a cool idea. And then watch the cycle of butterflies before releasing them. I've actually done that as a kid. I caught a monarch butterfly caterpillar. I knew what they looked like. Kept it in a jar, gave it the food, the leaves it needed to eat, and then it formed a cocoon, turned into a butterfly, and I released it. And it was the coolest thing ever. I highly recommend you check that out for your kids. Marilyn just put a DuckDuckGo link in there in the chat. But that idea, you can buy a butterfly kit on Amazon, and I very much encourage you to do that with your kids. What a learning experience. And you know, among the many things that they will learn is patience, because it does take a while. Not forever, but it takes a while for them to turn into a cocoon and then eventually turn into a butterfly. But it truly is amazing for kids to see. Wow. Well, Democrats and their media allies have been working overtime to paint President Trump as reckless, unstable, dangerously unfit to lead. The latest excuse for their hysteria, pearl clutching, heading for the fainting couch, came after Trump put pressure on Iran to reopen the straits, which has been effectively closed since February, cutting off roughly 20% of the world's oil supplies. They've been daring the U.S. to respond ever since, and Trump did respond. He did exactly that. And that's when the left went cuckoo nuts. Tuesday morning, yesterday, Trump issued a blunt warning on Truth Social. He demanded Iran reopen the Straits of Hormuz. He set a deadline and made it clear he was not bluffing. Quote, "A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again," end quote. Ouch. No empty promises wrapped in diplomatic gobbledygook. Just the kind of language meant to send a message to Iran that America was done playing games. And of course, Democrats, being Democrats, completely melted down. They called Trump crazy. They called for the 25th Amendment. They called for Trump to be impeached. This idiot Rep. Diana DeGette, Democrat from Colorado, and we all know about Colorado from yesterday's show. Well, she insisted the 25th Amendment proceedings must begin immediately. Said if Trump's cabinet refused to act, Congress should move to impeach. Senator Ed Markey, Democrat from Massachusetts, or Taxachusetts, piled on, called Trump's statement completely unstable, perilous. The House must bring up impeachment articles, and the Senate needs to remove a president who wants to commit war crimes. He said, we cannot sit idly by as Donald Trump threatens to end an entire civilization. Others joined in with similarly idiotic, dumb messages. Folks, we've seen this movie before, many, many times. Trump protects strength. The Democrats get triggered, demand his removal from office. It's like watching a bad movie play out over and over again. But here's the part they didn't see coming. Iran blinked. Before that deadline even hit, Trump announced a 2-week ceasefire agreement contingent on Iran agreeing to complete, immediate, and safe reopening of the Straits of Hormuz. In other words, exactly the outcome that Trump demanded from the start. Based on conversations, he says, with Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Field Marshal Asim Munir from Pakistan, and wherein they requested that I hold off the destructive force being sent tonight to Iran, subject to the Islamic Republic of Iran agreeing to the complete, immediate, and safe opening of the Straits of Hormuz, I agree to suspend the bombing and attack of Iran for a period of 2 weeks. So let's review. Trump issues a hard deadline. Democrats accuse him of being cuckoo nuts, demand he be removed from office. Iran caves to the pressure, reopens a critical global oil route, and offers a framework for peace negotiations. And somehow, we're supposed to believe that Trump is the problem? He's the crazy, unhinged, dangerous one? Yeah, I don't think so. Of course, none of this guarantees any kind of permanent peace. Iran has a very long track record of bad behavior, and anything can happen in the Middle East. We've seen it before. But the one thing that is already crystal clear, Trump's strategy for forced progress and Democrats rushing to call him crazy. And now they are left staring at a ceasefire, reopened Strait of Hormuz, and the early framework of a deal that the Democrats insisted was impossible. Of course, they won't admit they're wrong. They never do. But we all know what happened. Now, here's the weird part, okay? This story pops up from PJ Media that says Iran launched missiles at Israel, U.S. installation, amidst this ceasefire announcement. Look, I don't know. Maybe those idiots in Israel are trying to leak bad information because, they'd like nothing more than to keep this war going. Do not call me an anti-Semite. You do not have to like Israel to have any problem with people who are Jewish. Two separate and completely different things. I have a lot of problems with Israel. It has nothing to do with the Jews. It has everything to do with Netanyahu and his warmongering and his bullshit. That may very well be what this story is. It's happened before. Just after we announced that ceasefire, the regime apparently launched ballistic missiles at civilian targets in Israel, according to this report. Another missile salvo reportedly targeting a U.S.-based diplomatic installation in Iraq, even though that strike might have occurred just before the ceasefire. In any case, the Iranian regime received a new record for shortest ever ceasefire. If this story is true, Trump, of course, wants the war to end. Who, outside of crazed jihad lovers in America, would not rather have peace? Everyone, of course, except for the crazed jihad lovers. The question, though, is whether we can trust the Iranian regime. It's always been the question. Trump did indicate the ceasefire was temporary, 2 weeks, likely a test. Seems like the Iranian regime just couldn't wait to illustrate for the president exactly how temporary the ceasefire was going to be. Fox News also reported on this, said an Iranian barrage bombarded Israel just after the ceasefire announcement. So, who do you believe? All you can do is keep your eye on the news and where you get your news from. I highly recommend Ground News. It is fantastic. It will show you the truth. It'll show you whatever biases these news outlets have. They're very good like that. There is a link in our show notes. You can use the site even if you don't sign up for a Vantage subscription. But if you want to, and you do, you'll get 40% off if you use our link. So check that out. The link is down there in our show notes. Ground News is fantastic. I use them each and every single day for the real news, or at least to check a story like this story. I will check to see, and it'll show me. It was, posted by this many left-leaning sites, this many right-leaning sites. Ones that are more centered don't lean right or left. So it's a brilliant site. Check it out, Ground News. All right, Maryland. Danny, what do we got over here? I just read that Dodd filed impeachment papers. Oh, Chris Dodd from Connecticut. Guess who he had drawn them up? Our Winston friend, Ralph Nader. Oh, great. Is Ralph Nader still alive? He's got to be 1,000 years old by now. And you're right, Danny, he's already been impeached twice. Not likely they're going to be able to get him out of office. Usually these things are nothing. And you're right, Marilyn, nothing will happen to him because God said so. He appointed him. God's got this, Marilyn says, just like we have to hang in and not turn on him. It's hard sometimes, but we have to stand with him. Amen. All right. While we're on the Trump thing, I got to share this with you. It's silly, but it's so good. It's so good it will make your sides hurt. Have you seen the baby Trump memes? They are hilarious. We've told you before how the developments in artificial intelligence have spawned a whole creative outpouring that's changing the world right before our eyes. Certainly there's a lot of scary sides to this technology, but it's also given rise to some absolutely incredible advancements that most of us could never have even envisioned just a few years ago. The Marco Rubio handling every job imaginable memes are funny as hell. They've taken over the internet. But there's another set of these laugh out loud creations that are going absolutely viral too, and that is the obviously not real clips of President Trump, along with his aides, the media, being portrayed as babies as they encounter all kinds of real world problems. You're right, we love the baby things, Marilyn. The eye rolls of the New York Times journalist and Iranian leaders are really what makes these clips funnier than ever. And creators often use Trump's real words. Take a look at this. This is great.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President, for the question. Deliberate attacks on civilian infrastructure violate the Geneva Conventions and international law.
Who are you with?
I'm with the New York Times. Zolan from the New York Times. Are you
The failing.
Are you
see
concerned?
circulation way down at the New York Times.
Are
What's
you
going on
concerned
with it?
that your threat to bomb power plants and bridges amount to
No,
war
not at
crimes?
all. No. I hope I don't have to do it. But again, I just said 47 years they've been negotiating with these people. They're great negotiators, and because they're not going to have a nuclear weapon, and
These things are funny as hell. The expression on that little baby Times reporter as Trump rips him a new one, absolutely priceless. And you're right, Danny, the facial expressions, spot on. Now look, obviously this conflict with Iran is a very serious matter, no doubt about it. But hey, we all need a little humor in our lives to lighten the load. Have you seen the one where Trump goes to therapy? Oh yeah, take a watch. Come on. Come on. You're not going to play? I guess not. Anyway, the therapist asked baby Trump if he's stressed by the pressures of the job. He said, "Not hardly." Stressed? No, I cause stress. Big difference. Other people get stressed watching me win. That's on them. I sleep beautifully too. Now, there's nothing that I can find that said Trump actually said this. But the fact that it sounds so Trump-like is what makes it so funny. Here's baby Trump riffing on birthright citizenship. Watch the Chinese billionaire and just go ahead and try not to laugh.
And the Supreme Court tomorrow is going to hear arguments about your executive order trying to get rid of birthright citizenship.
And I'm going.
You're going to go to the Supreme Court tomorrow.
I do believe
and just sit there and listen.
Because I have listened to this argument for so long, and this is not about Chinese billionaires or billionaires from other countries who all of a sudden have 75 children or 59 children in one case or 10 children becoming American citizens. This was about slaves. And if you take a look, slaves, we're talking about slaves from the Civil War. And if you take a look at when it was filed, all of this legislation, all of this, everything having to do with birthright citizenship, it was at the end of the Civil War. The reason was it had to do with the babies of slaves and the protection of the babies of slaves. It didn't have to do with the protection of multi-millionaires and billionaires wanting to have their children get an American citizenship.
Oh my God. Too much. The fakes have become quite juvenile too, by the way, which frankly, I don't mind. If I'm being honest, they're silly, they're stupid, but damn, these internet creations are incredible. All done, by the way, with AI. We live in very uncertain times. Yes, as I said, the Iranian conflict should be taken seriously. But a good laugh is sometimes exactly what we need. And baby Trump, for many, judging by the huge viewerships, very often delivers the goods. We love these things. Baby Trump. Hey, guess who else made it back in the news? Good old Eric Swalwell. Did you know he was running for governor of California? Eric, please. Nobody likes you. And now, Eric Swalwell is blaming MAGA conspiracy theorists for rumors he sexually harassed staffers and interns. This moron, Swalwell, by the way, who is, as I mentioned, also a candidate for governor in California, fiercely denying rumors he sexually harassed dozens of staffers and interns over many years, accusing his opponents and MAGA conspiracy theorists of starting those rumors. Here's Swalwell's spokesperson, Micah Beasley. This false, outrageous rumor is being spread 27 days before an election begins by flailing opponents who've sadly teamed up with MAGA conspiracy theorists because they know Eric Swalwell is the frontrunner in this race. These rumors have been swirling online for weeks, pal. Among California political observers, consultants, some prominent, very well-connected Democrats have been echoing them too. One such consultant, Michael Trujillo, worked with Hillary Clinton, the late Rob Reiner, Antonio Villagarza, one of Swalwell's opponents. On March 22nd, he wrote, and this post on X has since been deleted, I guess Swalwell can enjoy today, but folks know he slept with many of his interns while married, sexually harassed others while engaged, has a ton of weird text late at night saved by former interns' phones, and he gets to have to answer for this later on. That post echoed by Keith Edwards, former communications director for the Lincoln Project. He added, I'll just say this about Eric Swalwell. He knows what he did, and so do other people, because there are text messages and DMs that confirm it. Ariel Photo, the gentle parenting TikToker, one of Kamala Harris's social media influencers, says she was warned about Swalwell last November after he posted her on his Instagram story, and says she has personal friends who say they've had run-ins with him. She also said that no less than a dozen people have come to her with allegations that Swalwell had inappropriate relations with young staffers, and they had been occurring for years. So, Mr. Eric, it's out there. What do you got to say for yourself? Not good. Marilyn recommends we all listen to Julie Green's prophecy today. The link is on her page. What is said re Swalwell and another high official that was in the Trump team. You won't believe your ears. And Danny says, I love this. Let him run. Let AOC run for president. Or let Kamala run again. Let these idiots keep Republicans in office. Brilliant. Now, the chances of that happening in California, very, very tiny. But presidentially, yeah, let AOC or Kamala run again. Oh, please do that. Please do that. And speaking of our old cackling friend Kamala, you might just want to sit this one out. She tripped up, once again, by her own words, after a hot take on Trump's Iran deadline. Now, as we told you, as expected, the Democrats have completely lost their minds about the U.S. strikes on Iran, with the primary talking points being this is allegedly a war, one of choice, while whining about how President Trump and the DOD are not revealing every detail about Operation Epic Fury, as though that's a completely normal thing to do during an ongoing military conflict. Spoiler alert, it isn't, for good reasons. Now, they say this, of course, despite the fact that the past Democratic presidents and leftist members of Congress have at various points talked tough on the issue of Iran, nuclear ambitions, its well-known role as the primary state sponsor of terrorism. It has gone back for decades. About the only Democrat who has their head on straight regarding Iran, you can probably guess, yep, Senator John Fetterman. In mid-March, he emphasized exactly the same point. Quote, "I'd like to remind everybody watching that every single Democratic presidential candidate always identified that Iran is a top security issue, and every single Democrat in the Senate and in the House says we can never allow Iran to acquire a nuclear bomb." So, what is behind this uproar from the Democrats? Plain and simple, Trump derangement syndrome. That's it. The Democrats and many in the media are full off the rails on this one. Phew. They're allowing their TDS to rather conveniently reshape their stated opinions. Case in point, former Vice President Kamala Harris, rumored to be mulling a 2028 presidential run. Please, God, let her run. Well, Harris once again entered the chat on the Iran issue on yesterday. She shared her hot take on Trump's 8 o'clock Eastern Time deadline on reopening the straits. Trump warned if it doesn't happen, the whole civilization will die tonight. You heard that before. Well, here's what she had to say on X in response. This is her tweet. "The President of the United States is threatening to commit war crimes and wipe out a whole civilization, all because he started a disastrous war of his own making and had no plan and no strategy for how to end it. This is abhorrent, and the American people do not support this. Trump's recklessness is needlessly putting our brave service members in harm's way, destroying America's global standing, and making life even more unaffordable for the American people. We must all stand against this and oppose funding this illegal war of choice." Now, like most Democrats, Kamala knows full well that Trump did not literally mean the entire country and all of its people. But because she and they want to sound like real Iran foreign policy regional experts, and they also want to weaken him and us, America, by trying to make him sound like some deranged lunatic, this is apparently the best she could come up with. However, unfortunately for her, some receipts entered the chat on her prior stances towards Iran, including positions she took after her party installed her as their nominee after kicking Joe Biden to the curb. Take a look at this particular headline: "Harris to Jewish voters. All options on the table to stop Iran from going nuclear." Is that you, Kamala? It looks a lot like you. Does she really seriously think she would have handled the Iran situation better than Trump if she'd been president? Can you imagine where we'd be if she were sitting behind that desk? Far as I'm concerned, anytime a Democrat opens their trap on this issue, they're just reminding folks all over again that Democrats should never, ever lead this country again. I mean that. As prior history shows, they can kick the can down the road, and that would leave the U.S. far more vulnerable to an attack from the likes of Iran or its allies than it has ever been. Ever. So, Camilla, like I said in the beginning, you might just want to sit this one out. Yeah. All right. I need another sip. Blackout coffee. It's right here in this mug. By the way, somebody sent me a private message saying your cup is dirty. You know what? I looked at it. You're right. I rarely wash this thing. I use the same cup every day, Monday through Friday on the show. Otherwise, I have a different cup that I use during the regular rest of the day. So I gave it a thorough washing, and now it's clean. See, it's clean inside. And thank you for pointing that out, by the way. I appreciate it. I really do. Oh, man. By the way, if you want Blackout Coffee, their link is down there in our show notes. Just hit show more, scroll down, look for Blackout Coffee, use that link. 20% off your first order. J20 is the code. They've always got great deals over there. Check them out, please. The best coffee on the planet. An American company owned and operated by Americans. They use local farmers and co-ops to grow the best beans on the planet. This is turning into a commercial. I don't care. They really are that good. And John Santos and the whole gang at Blackout Coffee care about this country, and they care about making good coffee. And you got to try it. Just try one bag. Give it a shot. Try it. You can. It's whole beans, but if you want many of their most popular roasts, they're also available ground. So check them out, Blackout Coffee. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Bold, full-flavored, and never ever bitter Blackout Coffee. The link is in our show notes. Thank you. All right. This story pisses me off like never ever. Oh, man. A Pennsylvania couple has been charged with endangering the welfare of children after a 17-month-old child was injured near the wolf enclosure at Zoo America over the weekend. The zoo is a very popular destination with a larger Hershey Park theme park. It is within the Hershey Park theme park. This incident, reported by the Derry Township Police, says the parents, who are from Lititz, Pennsylvania, are believed, listen to this, they walked 25 to 30 feet away from the child, left their 17-month-old child there by the wolf enclosure, walked away, sat on a bench, allegedly then became distracted by their cell phones. The toddler slipped through a small opening on a wooden barrier perimeter fence and reached the metal fence surrounding the gray wolf enclosure. Oh my God. From the injuries sustained, it appears as though one of the wolves in the enclosure instinctively and quite naturally, it's what wolves do, grabbed onto the child's hand with its mouth. Several bystanders intervened. They helped pull the child away. That, according to the police report. Court records show that Kerry Sorter and Stephen Wilson are awaiting a preliminary hearing on April 28th. The zoo said in a statement that the wolf's response is consistent with natural animal behavior, not a sign of aggression. This is the wolf doing what wolves do. Our habitats, quote, are designed with multi-layers of protection and clear signage and barriers in place to help ensure safe viewing. Guests are expected to remain within the designated area and closely supervise children at all times. A 17-month-old kid can't even read the signs. It said the child was never actually inside the wolves' enclosure, and we are relieved the injuries were minor. Zoo America currently houses 3 gray wolves, according to their website, a male wolf named Twister, and 2 female sisters, Hazel and Freya. Do you remember in Hershey Park? They made headlines last year when that video was going around of a lost boy who was wandering along a non-operational monorail line. That went uber viral. Remember, you could see him up on this monorail, just walking along the monorail. No injuries, rescued by a park employee. But man, a shevitz. And these 2 absolute idiots leave the 17-month-old kid near the enclosure, walk 25, 30 feet away, and get distracted looking at their damn handphones, cell phones. Unbelievable. All right, I have had this story on my list for like 3 days. I'm finally going to do it because I promoted it twice and I never got to the story. Stephen King, the moron from Maine, sweeps the bad timing awards with an epic fail about Trump's Situation Room. In case you need to be reminded, there's Stephen King. What an absolute moron. There's bad timing, folks. And then there is the most epically awful, face-planting, rake-stomping, humiliatingly horrible timing a person could possibly pick. And guess which one Stephen King, America's least favorite elderly lesbian auntie, guess which one he fell into today? Well, we woke up in the morning to learn that the heroic rescue of a downed U.S. pilot in the mountains of Iran, an incredible, complex mission that took the efforts of our military, intelligence agencies, many others in the Trump admin, overwhelmingly successful, as the mission was executed without a single American tragedy. Nearly 12 hours after this news, the terminally TDS-affected Stephen King decided it would be the perfect time to post a political cartoon from a fellow TDS victim, political cartoonist Dave Granlund. Here's what he had the absolute stupidity to post. If you're listening on the podcast, sorry, go over to Rumble or YouTube, watch our replay back of our live show. But that's what this idiot King posted. Not that there would ever be a good time to post that. He apparently published it April 3rd, when the planning for the rescue mission was well underway. After all, this is the same Situation Room that masterminded the extraction of Nicolas Maduro from Venezuela just a few months ago. But to post that after our armed forces had just rescued the second of 2 pilots they saved this past weekend? As I said, worst timing ever. At this point, Stephen King is just a laughable piece of entertainment. That's it. And you're right, Danny. She's got a video of Hillary in the past saying if she becomes president, she'll bomb Iran. Needs to happen. But yet, the hypocrisy from that side is strong because, of course, Trump did it. Okay, you ready for the craziest headline of the day? It's from the Federalist. Let me show it to you because it's just that stupid. A lawsuit is looking to stop people who have never lived in Virginia from voting in Virginia. What? Yeah. The election officials in Virginia are violating the state's constitution by allowing individuals who have never ever in their whole lives resided in the Commonwealth of Virginia to vote in their elections. That, according to a lawsuit that was filed on Monday, this week, just 2 days ago. The Republican National Committee Restoring Integrity and Trust in Elections, PAC, and a Virginia voter against the Virginia State Board of Elections and other state officials. The legal challenge contests provisions of state law, listen, that collectively permit individuals who were born outside of the United States and have never resided in the Commonwealth of Virginia to register and vote in Virginia elections. I'm sorry, is there a piece of DNA molecule of common sense you can find in any of that? This is the Uniformed and Overseas Citizens Absentee Voting Act. Federal law was originally intended to serve only active military and federal personnel stationed overseas, but now they are serving mostly non-military citizens. So, you're not from the United States. You have never and never will live in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And yet, they'd like you to vote there. What on God's green earth? I swear. Oh, man. All right, one more and I gotta go. Frankly, you know how much I'm crazy about space stuff. The White House yesterday shared the very first photo taken by the Artemis II mission from the far side of the moon, which showed a stunning view. I'll show you the picture in a minute. Captured during the astronauts' record-breaking journey. That photo, and frankly, it's a little disappointing. Look, I know it's the dark side, but come on, little Photoshop work here, please. Humanity from the other side, they write. The first photo from the far side of the moon, captured as from Orion, as Earth dips beyond the lunar horizon. They posted that on X on Tuesday morning. Take a look. Wow. But I want to see what's on the far side. Move that camera down. I hope they took more pictures. I haven't seen any yet. I'm dying to see if there's more pictures of what's on the dark side of the moon. Because, you know, if I get out my tinfoil hat, we'll be here for another hour. The White House also released another dramatic photo which shows the moon eclipsing the sun from the spacecraft's vantage point in lunar orbit. Totality beyond Earth from lunar orbit, the moon eclipses the sun, revealing a view in human history we have never witnessed. Wow. Apparently, the dark side is really dark. Orion mission surpassed the distance record set by Apollo 13, traveling 252,756 miles from Earth. How about that? There better be lighter images of what's on that backside. I want to see them, NASA. Don't hold back, otherwise I'll know. I'll do a whole show talking about conspiracy theories on what's back there. The lizard people, the Illuminati, the Anunnaki, little green men. Jack's Kindergarten says Denny has a choir concert tonight in honor of the launch. Space-related songs. Wow. Cannot wait. Fantastic, Jack. Best of luck with your concert. That is a fantastic deal. What a cool thing. All right. Hey, we're out of here. Thanks so much. It's a Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. I'll see you back here again tomorrow for the Thursday edition. Please help support the show as best you can. Really appreciate any amount. $10, $5, $50, $100. You want to go crazy? Go crazy. There's a PayPal link down there in our show notes. Just make some small donation. It really would help a lot to support this show. And you can go make a purchase at one of our sponsors, including Patriot Mobile, Blackout Coffee, NordVPN, all those great folks. And don't forget Ground News. That's down there too. I will see you all again tomorrow.